Kes, 1969, is a British classic that left a lasting impact on audiences with its heartfelt story of a boy and his kestrel. More than 5 decades later, fans still wonder what happened to the cast who brought this timeless tale to life. Have they stayed in the spotlight, or did they take a different path? Let's take a trip down memory lane and see where the stars of Kes are now in 2025. 1. David Bradley as Billy. David "Die" Bradley was just 14 years old when he stepped onto the set of Kes, 1969, a film that would change his life forever. Born on September 27, 1953, Bradley had no idea that his portrayal of Billy Casper, a troubled working-class boy who finds solace in training a kestrel, would become one of the most powerful and authentic adolescent performances in cinema history. But from the moment he appeared on screen, it was clear. This was no ordinary child actor. But what happens after such an extraordinary debut? Many expected Bradley to soar like his on-screen kestrel, diving straight into a glittering career in film. Instead, his journey took unexpected turns. In the mid-1970s, he trained with the prestigious National Theatre Company, proving that Kes was no fluke. He tackled the intense role of Alan Strang in Equus, a psychologically demanding play about a young man's obsession with horses. Night after night, he left audiences spellbound, earning standing ovations and critical acclaim. Bradley wasn't just an actor, he was a force. Then, as suddenly as he arrived, he seemed to disappear. By the 1980s, Bradley stepped away from the spotlight. Instead of chasing Hollywood dreams, he chose a different path, working as a carpenter and exploring personal interests. To many, this might have seemed like a fall from grace, but Bradley never saw it that way. He lived life on his own terms, refusing to be confined by the expectations of fame. Still, Kes never truly left him. Decades later, during the film's 30th anniversary in the 1990s, Bradley reunited with his former castmates, reliving the magic that had captivated audiences so many years before. And though he had largely stayed away from the industry, the pull of acting remained. In later years, he returned to the screen in projects like Hummingbird, 2013, and Holby City, 2015, not for fame, but for the sheer love of the craft. Now, at 71, Bradley's legacy is more than just one unforgettable role. His story isn't about relentless ambition or Hollywood excess. It's about authenticity, resilience, and the courage to walk away when the world expects you to stay. And perhaps that's the greatest performance of all. 2. Freddy Fletcher as Judd. Freddy Fletcher was just 19 when he took on the role of Judd in Kes, 1969, a performance that would define his career and leave a lasting impact on British cinema. Born in 1950, Fletcher had no formal acting experience, yet his portrayal of Billy Casper's violent, embittered older brother felt disturbingly real. He didn't just play Judd, he was Judd. His every sneer, every menacing glare, every moment of simmering resentment toward his younger brother made audiences both fear and pity him. It was the kind of raw, unpolished performance that only comes from pure instinct. And it cemented Kes as one of the most powerful working-class dramas of its time. However, Kes was just the beginning of Fletcher's career. His gripping performance opened doors to new opportunities, particularly in television. He quickly landed a role in the comedy series Queenie's Castle, 1970, playing Raymond Shepard, one of Diana Dors' wayward sons. This was a stark contrast to Judd's dark, brooding nature. Here, Fletcher had to shed his intensity and embrace a more light-hearted, playful character. However, he navigated this transition with ease, proving he was not simply a one-note actor, but one capable of tapping into both the dramatic and comedic sides of his craft. His versatility was on full display, earning him more roles in TV series, with appearances in beloved shows like Coronation Street and Emmerdale Farm. While he would always be linked to Judd in Kes, that connection only solidified his place as a pivotal figure in British television and film. Now, at 75, Freddy Fletcher's legacy lives on. Though he never pursued the glitz and glamour of Hollywood, his performances, particularly in Kes, continue to hold weight in British film history. His unflinching realism and ability to evoke such deep emotion through his characters remain a testament to his raw talent. 3. Lynne Perrie as Mrs. Casper. Lynne Perrie, born Jean Dudley on April 7, 1931, was 38 when she stepped into the role of Mrs. Casper in Kes, 1969. Mrs. Casper isn't a villain, nor is she a warm, nurturing figure. She is simply exhausted. Trapped in the monotony of a working-class existence, burdened by financial struggles and hardened by life's disappointments, she moves through the film as a woman who has long since stopped expecting happiness. Perrie's performance was understated yet powerful, capturing the resignation of a mother who deep down probably loves her son, but is too consumed by her own hardships to express it. But Lynne Perrie's own life was far from dull. Before Kes, she was a singer in working men's clubs, performing under the stage name Dizzy, and building a reputation for her bold, lively presence. It was only later that she transitioned into acting, and Kes became her breakthrough role. While the film cemented her as a formidable actress, it was her portrayal of Ivy Tilsley in Coronation Street that made her a household name. As Ivy, Perrie channeled the same raw authenticity that made Kes so powerful, crafting a character who was fiery, opinionated, and fiercely protective of her family. Yet behind the success, Perrie's life was marked by struggles. She battled health issues, including a heart attack, and faced personal tragedies, including the devastating loss of her son. She also fought through addiction and depression, challenges that only deepened the complexity of the characters she played. Despite these hardships, she remained a public figure, known for her resilience and ability to connect with audiences on an emotional level. Lynne Perrie passed away in 2006 at the age of 74, but her legacy endures. Through Kes, she gave voice to the quiet suffering of working-class mothers, and through Coronation Street, she brought warmth and fire to British television. 4. Colin Welland as Mr. Farthing. Colin Welland was 35 when he took on the role of Mr. Farthing in Kes, 1969, and his performance left a lasting impact. In a world where most adults dismissed Billy Casper as a lost cause, Mr. Farthing was one of the few who truly saw him, offering not just guidance, but a rare sense of understanding. Welland brought warmth and quiet strength to the role, making Mr. Farthing a figure of compassion in an otherwise unforgiving landscape. His portrayal struck a chord with audiences and critics alike, earning him a BAFTA award for Best Actor in a Supporting Role and cementing his place in British cinema history. Well before Kes, Welland had already built a reputation on the small screen, particularly for his role as PC David Graham in the BBC police drama Z-Cars, 1962 to 1965. As his career progressed, Welland's talents expanded beyond acting. He found his true passion in writing. He would go on to write some of the most compelling screenplays of his time, culminating in his Academy Award win for Best Original Screenplay for Chariots of Fire, 1981. Despite his growing success as a writer, Welland never abandoned acting. He appeared in films such as Yanks, 1979, and Twice in a Lifetime, 1985, demonstrating his versatility across genres. Yet whether in front of the camera or behind the scenes, one theme remained constant in his work: his belief in the power of ordinary people fighting against the odds. His scripts often championed working-class heroes and underdogs, much like Billy Casper in Kes. Colin Welland passed away on November 2, 2015, at the age of 81, leaving behind a body of work that still speaks to audiences today. His legacy is one of kindness, integrity, and a belief in storytelling that highlights the humanity in all of us, a fitting tribute to the teacher who once told a young boy, "Go on, Billy, tell us about your hawk." 5. Brian Glover as Mr. Sugden. Brian Glover was 35 when he stepped into the unforgettable role of Mr. Sugden in Kes, 1969. With his deep Yorkshire accent, booming voice, and natural comedic timing, he turned what could have been a one-note bullying PE teacher into a scene-stealing character brimming with both humor and menace. His now iconic football match scene, where he shamelessly rigs the game in his favor, bellowing, "I'm Bobby Charlton," remains one of the film's most memorable moments, perfectly capturing the absurdity of authority figures who abuse their power while still craving admiration. But before Kes, Glover's life had already taken unexpected turns. He wasn't a trained actor. He was a teacher, a professional wrestler, and a writer. Under the ring name Leon Aris, the Man from Paris, he built a reputation in the wrestling world with the same commanding presence and larger-than-life personality that would later define his acting career. It was through Barry Hines, the writer of Kes, that Glover was introduced to director Ken Loach. Despite having no formal acting experience, his raw energy and imposing physicality made him the perfect choice for the role of Mr. Sugden. Following Kes, Glover's acting career took off, and he became a beloved character actor known for playing tough, no-nonsense figures with a touch of humor. Whether in the horror classic An American Werewolf in London, 1981, where he brought both grit and levity, or in Alien 3, 1992, where his stern demeanor added tension, he had a knack for commanding the screen. Television audiences also embraced him, especially in roles like Cyril Heslop in Porridge, where his blend of gruffness and charm made him an instant favorite. When Glover passed away on July 24, 1997, at the age of 63, British cinema lost one of its most unique and dynamic performers. Yet his legacy endures. In every booming line, every commanding presence, and every sly grin, Brian Glover's spirit lives on. 6. Bill Dean as Fish and Chip Shop Man. Bill Dean, born Patrick Anthony Connolly on September 3, 1921, was 47 when he appeared in Kes, 1969, as the Fish and Chip Shop Man. In a film filled with tough realities, his character provided a glimpse into working-class life. Practical, no nonsense, but not without a certain warmth. His brief but memorable scene with Billy Casper was a moment of quiet authenticity, reflecting the everyday interactions of a town where kindness was often hidden beneath a gruff exterior. But Dean's path to acting was far from conventional. Before stepping onto a film set, he had already lived a life of adventure and resilience. During World War II, he served in the Royal Air Force, seeing action in North Africa and Italy, a far cry from the small, grimy chip shop in Kes. After the war, he worked a series of jobs that painted him as a true man of the people: tram driver, ship's steward, even a stand-up comedian in local clubs. His knack for storytelling and humor eventually led him to acting, and it was his role in Ken Loach's The Golden Vision that set him on the path to stardom. Following Kes, Dean's career flourished. His most famous role came in the 1980s as Harry Cross in the long-running British soap Brookside. As the curmudgeonly yet oddly endearing pensioner, Dean became a household name, bringing depth and unpredictability to a character who could be both infuriating and sympathetic. But Brookside was just one chapter in his career. Dean made his mark on British television with appearances in The Sweeney, Minder, and Heartbeat, often playing working-class men with tough exteriors but unmistakable humanity. Sadly, Bill Dean passed away on April 20, 2000, at the age of 78. Though he may be gone, his legacy endures in the stories he told and the characters he brought to life. He was proof that an actor doesn't need to be a leading man to leave a lasting impact. Sometimes, the most unforgettable moments come from those who simply embody the world around them with honesty and heart. 7. Bob Bowes as Mr. Gryce. Bob Bowes, born on November 19, 1922, was 47 years old when he stepped into the role of Mr. Gryce. Mr. Gryce, a character designed to be hated, is the embodiment of a harsh, oppressive school system that shows no mercy. His quick, cruel punishments and complete disregard for Billy Casper's well-being mirror the rigid and sometimes heartless authority figures of the time. Despite this being his only movie appearance, his portrayal of the severe, no-nonsense headmaster became iconic, leaving an unforgettable mark on audiences. What makes Bowes' performance even more compelling is that he wasn't a trained actor, but a lifelong educator. Born the eldest of 7 in Durham, he grew up valuing discipline and education, shaping his future in the classroom rather than on the stage. By the 1960s, he had become the headmaster of Ashton Road Secondary Modern School in Castleford. His passion for teaching even ran in his son Andrew following in his. It was this real that made Bowes the perfect. Ken Loach, famous for casting real people in roles that mirrored their lives, saw in Bowes an authenticity that no trained actor could replicate. Sadly, Bob Bowes passed away on December 1, 1979, at just 57 years old. Though his acting career was short-lived, his portrayal of Mr. Gryce in Kes left a lasting legacy. His performance reminded us of the importance of empathy and understanding in education, a lesson that transcends the film and remains relevant today. 8. Julie Goodyear as Woman in Betting Shop. Julie Goodyear, born on March 29, 1942, was just 27 when she appeared in Kes, 1969, as the woman in the betting shop. Though her role was brief, it added another layer to the film's portrayal of working-class life in a tough northern town. Her character, sitting among the hardened gamblers, embodied the quiet resilience of many women of the era, surviving, observing, and navigating a world dominated by men. But for Goodyear, this was just the beginning. Before she became a household name, she worked as a hand and foot model, an unusual start for someone who would go on to dominate British television. Then, in 1966, everything changed when she landed the role of Bet Lynch in Coronation Street. Tough, sharp-witted, and glamorous, Bet quickly became one of the most beloved characters in the show's history. With her signature blonde beehive and leopard print wardrobe, she wasn't just a barmaid, she was an icon. Over the course of 25 years, Goodyear's portrayal made Bet Lynch a legend, earning her widespread recognition and a Lifetime Achievement Award in 1995. However, Goodyear's story extended far beyond Coronation Street. She ventured into reality TV, took on other acting projects, and even shared her personal journey in her autobiography, Just Julie. In it, she opened up about her battles with cancer, the pressures of fame, and the challenges of life beyond the screen. Her candidness only deepened the admiration fans had for her, not just as an actress, but as a fighter who faced life head-on. Now, at 83, Goodyear has stepped away from acting, but her influence remains. From her early days in Kes to her reign as Bet Lynch and beyond, she has left an indelible mark on British television. Her strength, both on and off the screen, continues to inspire those who admire her resilience, charisma, and unshakable spirit. 9. Bernard Atha as Youth Employment Officer. Bernard Atha, born on August 27, 1928, was 41 when he stepped into the role of the Youth Employment Officer in Kes, 1969. His character, though well-intentioned, embodied the quiet failure of a system that claimed to support boys like Billy Casper, but ultimately left them with little hope. With a polite yet detached demeanor, he offers Billy career options that feel more like a list of inevitabilities rather than real opportunities. Jobs that fail to acknowledge Billy's interests, intelligence, or dreams. Atha's subtle but powerful performance made the moment all the more poignant, reinforcing Kes's raw critique of working-class struggles and the rigid institutions that often let them down. But Atha was far more than just an actor in a Ken Loach film. He continued to collaborate with Loach, appearing in Family Life, 1971, and Blackjack, 1979, both of which explored themes of hardship and resilience. Beyond Loach's films, Atha became a familiar face on British television, gracing screens in All Creatures Great and Small, Sherlock Holmes, Coronation Street, Emmerdale, and Last of the Summer Wine. His ability to seamlessly step into roles across different genres made him a respected figure in British drama. However, acting was only one chapter of Atha's remarkable life. Deeply committed to public service, he took on a role few actors do, political leadership. In 2000, he became the Lord Mayor of Leeds, but in true Bernard Atha fashion, he approached it with a twist. Instead of appointing a traditional lady mayoress, he selected 18 prominent Yorkshire women to share the role, a bold and symbolic move that underscored his progressive thinking. His contributions to the arts and his dedication to his community earned him both an OBE and a CBE, solidifying his reputation as a man who didn't just perform stories, he helped shape them in real life. Sadly, Bernard Atha passed away in 2022 at the age of 94, but his legacy remains undeniable. Whether on screen, where he gave voice to working-class struggles, or in public service, where he fought for meaningful change, his impact endures. 10th. Douggee Brown as Milkman. Douggee Brown, born on August 7, 1940, was just 29 years old when he stepped onto the set of Kes, 1969. His role as the Milkman was brief. Blink, and you might miss him. But in those few moments, Brown added an air of authenticity that made the world of Kes feel all the more real.